One moment. All right, we're live and recording.
All right, good morning, everybody. Let me start by making sure that you can hear me and that I can hear you. All right. So, Attorney Wheeler, could you just say your name so I can be sure that I can hear you?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. I can hear you. Gregory Wheeler for Adail C. Gomes.
Thank you very much. And Ms. Lazarin, could you please just say hello so I can be sure that I can hear you?
Hello.
Okay. Is Mr. Kidd joining us today, or is he just listening in?
I'm not sure.
Excuse me, Mr. Kidd, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right. Are you joining us today, or are you just listening in?
I'm just listening in.
Okay, that's fine. All right. Well, I'm going to call this case, and then I'm going to do some brief introductions, and then we're going to proceed. The number of the case is 20-23-SJ0201, Adail Gomes versus Enid Lazarin. My name is Vuono. I'm an Associate Justice of the Appeals Court. And we're here today because you, Ms. Lazarin, have appealed denial of the appeal bond that was set in the housing court. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct, ma'am.
Okay. All right. So you know that the judge below had already found that you were indigent.
Correct.
He also found that you had not presented what we call a non-frivolous defense. In other words, a legitimate or meritorious issue on your behalf. And
Okay.
that's why he did not allow your motion.
Okay.
So I'm going to ask you about that in 1 second, and then afterwards I'm going to hear from Attorney Wheeler as well. But before I do, are you contesting the denial of the waiver of the appeal bond only, or are you also contesting the amount that's been required for you to pay in use and occupancy? In other words, the amount you're now required to pay in rent?
Yes, both, ma'am.
Both. All right. Well, then why don't you go ahead and tell me what your position is?
Okay. Okay. So I'm Enid Lazarin.
Mhm.
I work in the healthcare field. I'm a mom. I worked through COVID, and I work in the ICU at St. Vincent's Hospital. I've been doing it for years now. So I have given back to a lot of myself to the community. I've worked since I was 14 years old. Unfortunately, a series of bad events had happened in which I had no control over right when I had moved into the apartment. So I moved into the apartment. My daughter, she had confided in me that someone had did something to her.
Mhm.
I reported it, so it's all record reported.
Mhm.
DCF got involved. Later on, at that time I wasn't able to go back to work, obviously for that
Okay.
reason.
Mhm.
So after that, I got in that was in March. So I got the notice to quit, and right when I was supposed to get a renewal for the lease. There was no reasoning
at that point, since you were not working, you were in arrears. Is that fair to say?
Not necessarily. I was getting help because of like my situation. I was getting help through RCAP. RCAP was willing to help me with stipends because my job required me to get like my doctor to 3 months at a time, to get like
So without putting words in your mouth, and of course without in any way diminishing what's happened to you, is it fair to say for personal reasons you were not able to go to work, and that
Correct.
is the issue revolving around your inability to make the full rental payments?
Yes, rental payments were still made because RCAP they were already helping me right when I had moved in, because unfortunately a lot has happened.
Do you contest the amount that the judge found that was still owed? I have here the bond order, his summary process appeal bond order, and he says following a bench trial, the judgment entered And there was damages in the amount of $12,800. You contest any of, okay. So that's undisputed, right? Is that fair to say?
What do you mean undisputed? Like it's
That
not
that's the amount of damages, that was the amount that's owed to the landlord.
correct. It's not
Okay.
damage. No
Well,
damages.
that's a legal term there. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was in March. Al had already known that I was getting SSDI. So from that point on, a lot of other mishaps happened, things happen in life, whatever. So moving forward, I got the notice to quit. I got the notice to quit. It does not say anything on there. There's no real reason. I was already up to date with my rent, and from right the day that I got the notice to quit, I called RCAP and I told them do not send any payments to Al because I need to move forward. Okay. I was unable to get an apartment. There were several landlords that were willing to rent to me, but they pulled out my application because I unfortunately do not make enough money at this time. Obviously, my daughter is more important. So during this time, I'm trying to do all this stuff. I'm trying to get an apartment. I'm applying to every resource that I can. Everyone's helping me, but there's no help. So unfortunately, something had happened to me. I was assaulted. So I then talked to my therapist, and she told me it's not time to go back to work. So that was in September. Another incident happened that's already in court in the Fitchburg District Court right now. I was prescribed Seroquel, and it just did not have good side effects, and now I'm dealing with that as well. So this is everything that's going on. So I'm not sure what to do at this time. I feel like if Al didn't give me the notice to quit, I wouldn't have owed the 12,000. I would have still continued to do what I was doing. I would have approached it differently. There would have been different situations happening. He knew I was getting assistance, and that was something that he chose not to receive.
Where, if you can help me out today, for example, where are you, what is your situation right now? You're currently not working.
I am not working. It's a 3-month basis. So it goes on every 3 months. My next evaluation is May 3rd. My next court date for the other situation is May 9th. And I have another court date in Worcester on May 11th. I talked to RCAP. RCAP told me, I already got a letter from them saying that they're willing to help me, but there are no available apartments. I do not make 3 times the income, and I'm a single mom.
When you say they're willing to help you, what help are you anticipating? What do you think?
They were willing to either pay arrears, but then I wouldn't have a place to stay, and they only go up to a certain cap, and they were willing to pay first, last, and security to move out, but they can't do both, which I completely understand. So I'm kind of stuck right now because I'm not sure what to do. I'm
okay. Well, let me ask you one more question legally, okay, so that I can understand the legal parts of it. Is there other than these unfortunate incidents that have occurred that have resulted, in your not working at the moment, is there any other ground or argument, as we call it, okay, any ground or argument that you feel is a legitimate reason for you to be able to contest the summary process action?
It's in my honest opinion, there's no reason for me to even get the notice to quit. I put previously to that incident, I had put a small outdoor pool outside on my second parking lot that was paid for at the time because I was paying rent. Both RCAP was helping me pay rent. I was very upset by that. And he told me to get the pool out and that he had told me not to put it out there. It was 99 degrees outside. I had no car at the time. My daughter obviously was, I'm trying to help her. So I put the pool outside. Another tenant had helped me.
So I read that you think that was part of the dispute. I read that in the record. Yeah.
So
okay.
Moving
But
forward,
now the judge, go ahead.
And then, so I just think based off of everything, he just doesn't want to, my daughter's father's.
That's okay. All right.
No, whatever.
All right. Well, I think I have a good understanding of your position. There are other prior rulings that I have reviewed that the judge has written has ruled and made a summary of his findings, etc. So I have that. All right. So I'm going to hear now from Attorney Wheeler. And just so you know, unless I have questions, then you won't talk again. All right. What happens is that you talk first, and then Attorney Wheeler will speak to me. And unless I have another question for you, this is your last opportunity to tell me anything else you might want to tell me. All right.
Okay.
So why don't you sum up? If there's anything else you want to tell me now, and then I'm going to turn to Attorney Wheeler.
Okay. So I am 99.999% positive I will get the notice to evacuate. So I am being prepared for that. In that moving forward, I don't know what to do. So if you guys have any options or available things to do, just let me know, because I've tried every output and I don't know what to do at this point, because Fitchburg, the only shelter is closed. It just closed. So RCAP, has nothing to help me. No place will rent to me because of the new requirements of income. I can't go back to work because someone else decided to take something from me. So if you guys have an available option, please let me know. And that's it.
Okay. All right. Thank you. So Attorney Wheeler, I know that you have been representing the plaintiff for quite a while throughout all the proceedings, and so you're familiar with them. Let me please hear what you have to say about this current situation.
Yes, thank you. Again, may it please the court, Gregory Wheeler for the plaintiff, Adail Gomes. Just brief background, the tenancy began in August of 21. It was subject to a 1-year lease that expired in August of 22. From August of 21 through July of 22, all rent that was received by Mr. Gomes was received by a third party, whether it was RCAP Solutions or through Ms. Lazarin applying for COVID-related rental assistance. That assistance became exhausted. All of the funds had been issued on the tenant's behalf, and that's when the issue with the unpaid rent began. After the rental assistance was exhausted, no rent had been paid and has been paid from August 22 all the way now through April of 2023, and there's $14,400 in unpaid rent that is currently owed. Notwithstanding, Mr. Gomes issued a 30-day no-fault notice of termination requiring the defendants to vacate by the end of September. That did not happen. The summary process case followed. Early on, the defendants were represented by legal aid. They filed a limited assistance on behalf of the defendants, or at least Ms. Lazarin. They filed an amended counterclaim. They filed and responded to discovery requests. And on the day of the trial, legal aid withdrew because that was not in the scope of their limited assistance representation. So we proceeded with the trial. Your Honor has, I believe, reviewed the findings of fact that the court had issued after trial. And during the trial, Ms. Lazarin and Mr. Kidd did not present any evidence at all regarding their counterclaims. And in fact, the record would reflect that Ms. Lazarin had apologized to Mr. Gomes for the situation that the parties found themselves in at that time. So the decision entered by the court notes no evidence was presented with respect to the counterclaims, and also that the defendants would not be entitled to a stay of an execution under Chapter 239, Section 9 and 10. Thereafter, a notice of appeal was filed. As Your Honor knows, there was a hearing on the motion to waive the appeal bond. Again, it was asked during that hearing, what is the non-frivolous basis for your appeal? And none was provided, and the bond order was issued as a result. Fast forwarding to today, I still have not heard a non-frivolous basis for the appeal. Again, there were counterclaims prepared on behalf of Ms. Lazarin by legal aid. No evidence was presented. They lost on those claims. The amount of unpaid rent is significant. And each day and month that passes, Mr. Gomes is losing more and more money. And unfortunately, at the end of all of this, assuming we have to hire a moving company, assuming we have to hire a constable, including the fees that Mr. Gomes has had to pay me and the court costs, he's lost over $20,000 from this tenant for not paying rent and all of these costs combined. So, you know, this issue has been pending for a long time. The notice of termination was served in August. We're almost 9 months removed from that. No rent has been paid. And going to the merits of the issue before Your Honor today, I still have not heard a non-frivolous basis for the appeal, which must be established in order to waive the bond order. So we would ask respectfully that the bond order be upheld. And then we'll proceed accordingly with the housing court.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you both very much. One, for your arguments. And second, I want to thank you both for appearing via Zoom. I know it's much easier for everybody to do it this way and makes it more helpful to be able to not have everybody come into the courthouse in Boston. So it's helpful also for me because I'm also in the western part of the state. So I want to thank you both for accommodating us on that. I'll take the issue under advisement, and I hope to get an answer to you very, very soon. I want again thank you both for your arguments. Ms. Lazarin, I want to express to you my sympathy of the different things that have befallen you recently, and I hope that those different instances get resolved as soon as possible. And of course, as you understand, as Mr. Wheels explained, this is a very difficult situation to be in.
I understand.
You need a place to live, and Mr. Gomes here needs to be able to receive his income. So